Prepare to die.
Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101, the podcast that is always on the hunt for the man with 6 fingers. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof, and this is level 175. Joining me tonight is KooshMoose.
Inconceivable.
Big L.
As you wish.
And the man
And my name
that
is
finally...
rawkerdude, prepare to die.
Bruh, I didn't introduce you. Bruh. Beat me to it, but yes, you finally understand this reference in its entirety.
Don't act like you understand the reference.
Oh, sick burn. Oh,
What are you talking
sick
about?
burn.
I've watched the movie plenty of times.
Sure.
I've watched the movie plenty of times. You are like the only person in a Discord that hasn't seen The Princess Bride.
I've seen it. What are you talking about?
All right. You're like the only person in Discord that hasn't seen The Princess Bride prior to last Wednesday.
Well, now you're just throwing stipulations into the matter, and I can do that about you. You're the
One of
only
the
one who
classic
hasn't
blunders.
seen it. Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite parts. Actually, I think, I think I mentioned this. I drank during the movie, and at one point we kind of made it into a drinking game with a lot of quotes.
Oh,
And those
gosh.
quotes come up a lot. And I recorded something afterwards. I don't remember what I said. I need to review that and put it out.
No.
But,
Don't record. Don't review it. Just put it
I
out.
think I said something a lot, and I might have said this during the live stream. I think seeing all the memes and the GIFs beforehand,
What's a GIF?
that's how we're not getting into that. I think seeing all that stuff beforehand actually made the movie more enjoyable. It gave me something to look forward to.
That makes sense.
Context.
I think up and through that part, like the blunder part, like the first half of the movie is probably my favorite part.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff that is very pop culture that you see a lot in that first half.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the Inconceivable guy has several different memes, and then, spoiler alert, he dies in that first part.
That's not how
or
spoiler
that,
alert works.
A little bit goes into it.
You're Elroying the spoiler alerts.
If you haven't seen The Princess Bride,
Oh, stop it.
Don't even go there.
Oh, Korth.
So, all in all, what did you actually think?
And that guy's
of it?
barely in the movie.
Well,
Well, that's because he dies.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I think watching it
See?
with an audience helped that. If I were watching this in the privacy of my own solitude, I would have looked
That
at my
was
phone.
weird.
I would have really spaced out a little bit and probably just said, "This is an old movie." Whatever. But
I get that.
But you wouldn't have,
I actually
you wouldn't have
think
pants on,
the
though. at
build
least.
up. That's true. Well, how do you know I had pants on? I think the build up
all right.
of everybody saying I should watch it, and then we kind of made it into an event. I think that I don't know if it put pressure on me to pay attention more, but I did enjoy it. It was fine.
I'll say it made it more fun, especially because you had a couple of people in chat with you, right?
Yeah, I didn't get in a voice chat, so they were just there in text chat, and the watch party thing on Twitch. I think it works fine. What we did figure out is everybody that is watching it has to have an Amazon Prime account. Otherwise, they just see a big picture of me and they don't hear anything. And then the movie has to be available in your region. So we had some people from Canada, and the movie's not available over there apparently in Amazon Prime. So whether you had Prime or not didn't matter. So it was kind of like the best of a bad situation because I don't know why they don't allow you to watch movies more easily together with people over the internet, but
Right?
whatever.
Netflix used to have that option where you can do a watch party with, a couple of people on a 360, but then they got rid of it. That was such a good feature.
And like you could probably get around it with some sleazy methods, like, and then do it in a private Discord call, but you kind of have to really go out of your way to make that work. But at the watch party thing, like people like came in and like they were at the same spot that I was at. It was no, question of, where are you at? You gotta find where you're at. It just seemed to work. So that part was good. It may be something to, look forward to in the later times. But I actually turned on the movie again the other day while I was playing a game to casually have it in the background. And it turns out the game that I got really into it, and it's very narrative driven. So I had to turn off Princess Bride. But there you go. I was trying to get, a little bit more Princess Bride in my brain via osmosis.
Well, that right there is a stamp of approval. You're watching it unprovoked.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll have to do that again with some other movie, something that one of us hasn't watched. Well, probably you or me, because those two have seen everything apparently, especially Elle.
No.
All right, let's talk about some actual games now. Starting off with our topic of discussion this week. This question comes in from Ragnarok, and he wants to know our thoughts on VR. Now, the way he frames this question is, I find VR a necessary part of the evolution of video games. For instance, I have been playing the Hitman games in VR through PlayStation VR. PlayStation sucks. And not only is it a great VR experience, I dare say it is among my favorite gaming experiences ever. The sense of presence combined with the feeling of just being there is incredible. VR is something else. I should inform everyone that Hitman is not my thing. Prior to VR, I spent very little time playing VR games over the years. Thanks to those same games being in VR, I now have very powerful feelings about Hitman. It is absolutely incredible. Well, I'll go ahead and read off Ahizo's answer to this because it echoes my thoughts very closely. Ahizo says, I haven't played a wide variety of games in VR, but I've been impressed with what I have played. I've also only played games built for VR from the ground up and not anything that just had VR added on. I don't have an issue getting queasy using it, and Beat Saber is probably the most fun I've ever had in a music game. I get why it won't come to Xbox, and it might be the right call, but I can't see it doesn't, excuse me, but I can't say it doesn't leave me disappointed. Minus the Beat Saber being the most fun in a music game, I echo a lot of his thoughts. I don't necessarily get queasy while playing it. Beat Saber is a ton of fun, and I've played 2 or 3 other games. I have no idea what they are called. One was some tank game. Another was like a spaceship dogfighting type game. Lots of fun. I really enjoyed it. I actually want a VR system myself. Biggest problem is, one, it's kind of the cost. And then also, there's not a lot of like those heavy hitter games, at least that I know of, that I actually do want. I would love for it to come to Xbox. I see why Xbox doesn't want to develop one just yet, because the software just isn't there yet. The install base isn't quite there, I wouldn't think. But I do agree with Ragnarok, where this is like the next evolution in video games. It's going to be that next step. Especially when you look at like games nowadays, especially on the PlayStation 5 or Series X, or your top tier gaming PCs, the graphics are photorealistic. It's getting to the point where we really can't go much farther in that area. So the only way to really add on to games, in my opinion, is to just be able to completely and totally immerse yourself in it by way of either VR or maybe some sort of like Mellotron thing that like that South Park game had. Something that makes it a little bit more realistic. But what do you guys think? Corey?
Well, one, you make me laugh when you say the software base isn't just big enough. Let me tell you about a little thing they did called Connect. Something brand new with people had to make stuff for it just to, even play it. VR it's getting bigger each and every day. Like there's a ton of stuff out there. Obviously not as big as PC gaming or any console gaming, but there are developers making stuff for VR. Some developers exclusively developing for VR. And there are a lot of good games out there, good experiences, I really should say, that you can get. Now, I want a VR headset. Like you said, the price is, a little concerning. If money wasn't an issue, I would go for the Steam. What is it? The Steam
I couldn't
Valve
tell you.
Index, I think is what it is. It's like $1,000, but it's like the best of the best. And so I want to experience that, but I don't think I would be hardcore into it. So looking at the lower end, like the Oculus Quest 2, this is like a $300 headset at the lower end, and you don't need a PC for it, which I think is a very big selling point of it.
Yes.
Some of those other ones, you do need a beefy PC to play it. You can't just put it in your Surface or connect it to whatever and have it go. You have to have something that can run those games. So I've actually taken the Quest 2 and put it on my Christmas list. Will I get it? I don't know, probably not. But if I do, I would be happy with the lowest end model that they have. I could just sit in my couch or my chair or stand up in my living room or whatever and play just a few experiences. I'm not looking to pad it down as much as my Xbox. Beat Saber would be the day one buy I would get for it. And then from there, I would see, what is popular and go from there. But I think they are getting better. They're getting more
Definitely.
affordable. I don't think that it should come to Xbox. I think peripheral gaming in and of itself is kind of dead. I heard through some article that, Harmonix the other week got bought by Epic. And I think it's on the table for them to make a Rock Band 4, but they said that there would not be any more plastic instruments. So I don't know how that would work or if that's true.
Don't like that.
Well, you'd have to, I guess, use the old ones that you have. I just think there's something about peripheral gaming that it never satisfies. So I don't think adding another one to a console specifically would do any good. If this one is a self-contained system, you don't even need a PC to play it, like the Oculus Quest 2 specifically. I think that's a great way to get into it and have what seemingly is a somewhat, okay quality device. So, yeah. Now, Frimholio over here said his wife and him have been trying to think of a gift to give the family. They typically go to vacation somewhere, but the prices are ridiculous. So VR has come up as an option. He's never used VR, but his son has. He mentioned Super Hot, which I have heard is pretty cool in VR, and some others. So he had it on his wish list, but only because there isn't really anything he wants for Christmas this year. Pretty much similar situation to me. He already says he doesn't have time to play video games, so adding another system without achievements seems like it will rarely get used. Again, That's me, but I still want it. Also, it doesn't really promote family time since the experiences are relatively solo. You can cast, if you don't know, most of these VR headsets, you can cast them to a display device of some kind so people can watch and see what you're seeing. But you're playing something by yourself, and maybe people are like laughing at you and stuff on the outside, but it is kind of a solo experience. And for him, that can kind of be a little bit of a deal breaker because they're trying to find something for the family. But I think that's a selling point. I mean, at least with my family, they're not going to be playing video games together necessarily. I do get my daughters to play Sonic Team Racing occasionally. They don't ask for Paw Patrol anymore, but Sonic Team Racing's there. But it's nothing like that we sit down as a family, and do as family time. So this would totally be a solo device for me, and I'm I'm cool with that, to be honest. Oh, he also says that he's nervous about puking and being scared. Yeah, I would not be playing scary games. No, sir.
See, now I want the VR specifically for Resident Evil. I would love to be able to play that in VR.
I don't like to pay to get scared, so I don't want to see it in my movies, and I don't want to see it in my games.
I'm not really a horror fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I do periodically like a good jump scare game to get that adrenaline rush. So I can't think of anything better than some sort of a horror game like Resident Evil in VR.
Well, just go jump off your roof.
Because then I die?
Your roof's not that tall. You'll be fine.
Okay.
The
Because
adrenaline
then
will
I
keep
hurt
you alive.
myself?
Okay, fine.
I like my legs the way they work. What about you, El?
Oh, glad you asked. I'm trying to remember how this thing
That's
works.
Nate's line.
Trying to remember how this thing works over here.
What, the microphone?
Yeah, the microphone. Is this thing on?
Welcome back, Hill. You weren't here last week.
I know.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Here, I thought we were going to talk about all the food we ate, but I guess we have to talk about VR instead.
We can do that afterwards.
Yay. By the way, Corey, I still say that you are a parent and nothing is scarier than being a parent, so you should not be scared of video games.
You're not
That's
wrong.
That's a different scare.
Nothing is scarier. I personally tried, I guess it was my sister's Oculus a few years ago, and it was some roller coaster demo. And
that sounds fun.
It was fun until I got dizzy and I said, I'm not doing this again. So I think I love the idea of VR, but I unfortunately got sick from it, and which is weird. I don't usually get like seasick or dizzy.
Sounds like you're just getting older. Your stomach can't hang no more.
I've been getting older for quite a while now. Let me read some of these patrons, such as our favorite patron, Vulgar Latin. I've played some VR games and I haven't seen anything that didn't strike me as more than a gimmick. It's neat, but I don't know if it's the future, since it also makes people pretty barfy, good word. It might not catch on as easily as motion controls, which also seemed like the next big thing until it wasn't.
To be fair, I think this has gone on at least as long as the motion controls and the Kinect and the 3D TV, and it's still going. It doesn't seem like it's going to die anytime soon. I think it's the best next iteration of gaming than those things were. And also, motion controls are still around. The Switch has them, I'm pretty sure.
They do, or it does.
Yeah. Not that they're used all the time or even in a fun way, but they're around.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem with the motion controls is really only the Wii did it right, and even then it was half the time it didn't work. Whereas PlayStation and Microsoft seemed to just kind of jump on the motion control bandwagon because they saw Nintendo making millions upon millions of dollars from it.
Technically, Microsoft never did motion control. Kinect was different. It was
okay,
no
fine.
control.
It's different. Same concept, essentially.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
And Kinect never worked.
You can sometimes see people like stream like very rarely. Like if you're looking at speedrunners doing old games that have motion controls, I see it sometimes, but even then they mostly opt to use a controller when they can. VR is just too hot of a thing to die anytime soon, and there's some pretty cool VR streamers out there too that like you can see their entire setup and like they're in the game and you can see it, and it is, I don't know, it's too cool of a thing to just disappear or whittle away like those things.
See, one thing, if this were to come to Xbox, I would absolutely want it for, if there's just one game, Forza. That would be so much fun to be playing Forza with a VR headset on.
I think something that they could implement instead of a whole, peripheral as a headset, you can do a lot of VR stuff with your phone as is. I think that they could implement your phone with Game Pass, xCloud, whatever, in some fashion to allow you to do that. I could see it coming. I'm calling it now. Might be a ways away, maybe Forza Horizon 6, but
that's actually a really cool idea.
I think it's on the table.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Like right now, if you go to YouTube and Google 3D roller coaster, you can watch a roller coaster ride and you can move your phone all around you. And if you just put that in like a cardboard box on your face where you block out all the light, that's VR. There you're there.
I had one of those. I don't know what happened to it, but Megadeth actually had one of their CDs. Their special edition came with like some stupid cardboard box so you could put your phone in, and you could watch their concert in VR.
Yeah, I mean that's Nintendo's thing. They sell you cardboard and let you build it yourself. But if you could hook up your controller to your phone, play Forza on Game Pass, xCloud, and then put it in a thing, they could do that now. I think
they probably could. Or if nothing else, they could play some Star Wars Squadrons, right, Nate?
Yeah, you could.
So what'd you think?
I thought it was my turn here. You guys are jibber-jabbering on. Oh, my God.
Well, speak up.
I don't want to cut you off. I never do that. I mean, you're over here talking about playing Forza in VR. Like, if you were playing, if you were playing Forza Horizon 5 in VR, and would you drink the water? Then you might get sick.
That's not VR.
Oh,
that's
took
not me a second to think of, and that was funny.
That's also not water.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
I got your joke.
I mean, the Wii was great at motion controls. Everyone's favorite Zelda game, Skyward Sword, and Metroid Prime 3. And anyway.
Twilight Princess.
But I do miss my Kinect. I need to get back to that. All right, so going back to Patreon comments real quick. Eliphalet77 says, going off of Volgar's comment, he says, unless it's the Matrix, until it's the Matrix, it's a gimmick. And Philip Wendell says, I have mixed feelings about VR. I get motion sickness easily. See, another old person like me. For example, I feel nauseous playing Doom 64 in the original Gears. Well, I don't know about that then.
Really?
I tried a VR racing game on
Interesting.
PlayStation. Censor that word out. And felt sick after the first lap. I'd love to experience more VR, but expect that I won't be able to stomach it. That is interesting that he says that. Actually, when I play some first-person shooters and my wife is around, she can't look. She says she gets sick looking at it. So I guess everyone has their own tolerance for this kind of stuff.
That's interesting. I've never really known anybody to get sick off of like a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, people get sick in the car driving, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
My wife has turned into that with my driving, apparently. I don't see it, but
my wife too. She has to drive. If she can't be the passenger, she'll get sick. Which is good for me.
My wife's fine if she's not looking at her phone. She has to look ahead, and she's okay. I don't know. I just say she's getting old.
That is a good sign.
Also, I've never seen The Matrix.
Oh boy, perfect.
So I don't know what Eliphalet means.
Okay, that would be a good movie for the two of us
He
to
wants
watch.
to know.
I haven't seen it in like 20 years, so
in the theater.
have no recollection of it.
I would use that DVD whenever I got new audio equipment to test out audio. The bullet time, you could hear the left speaker and the right speaker. It's good times. Good times. Speaking of someone who takes lots of pills, like maybe a red pill or a blue pill, Nate.
Yeah. So let's go real quick to the last couple comments from patrons. Chuyan says, I've never had the pleasure of trying a proper modern VR game. I played one in the 90s when they first tried it out and it was absolutely terrible.
Virtual
I know how
Boy.
to play it now, but if it turned up on Xbox, I'd probably end up giving it a try. I like the Kinect, even though it had its issues. I like Half-Life Alyx. make that. That's the only thing he wants to play on it. Lego Head says, I can imagine a fair few situations where VR would be great, but I'd have to see it, see if it lived up to my expectations. I love the Kinect and still do, but implementation has to be done right because they really screwed the pooch on that one. The major group to win over are the people that consider themselves hardcore gamers. Like there is such a thing. Those guys hate anything fun. And then finally, Black Friday Chip. Nice. Black Friday Chip says VR is fun and all, but I think it's way too expensive right now. Also, the fact that some games are becoming exclusive to specific VR models is kind of annoying. Wouldn't mind it coming to Xbox, but wouldn't be mad if it didn't either. So yeah, I'm kind of a mix of all three of those. Yeah, I don't like. I still think VR is very much the Wild West. There's no standard, and you get some stuff with this system, with this version of Valve's system or this version of Valve's system. And yes, there are pieces of software that try to make stuff that works on the Index work on the mobile one, but it doesn't work for every single game. It works for most of them. I was kind of upset that Microsoft didn't do some sort of VR at first, but now I'm whatever. I don't have time for all the games that are non-VR as it is.
True.
So to pay $300 or $400 or $1,000 to play another type of game where there's only going to be 10 of them at the most per year that I would play, it's just crazy. So that's what I have to keep telling myself every day, because I do like new shiny things. But
you do own a PlayStation 5 and a Switch.
Do I?
You own a PS5?
Do I?
Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, I do.
He owns a Sony Spider-Man.
But I'm not going to go out and buy like a $350 headset.
You can go buy something else.
Exactly. I'll buy another Xbox.
You're at your limit.
So I'm not going to do that. The thing I don't like about the PlayStation is there's so many wires. So if I do that where I have my PlayStation, it's out in the living room. It's a huge hassle. I don't want to do that. I'm fine with waiting. The biggest thing is there are no achievements. So if I was to do that, it's got to be like a fantastic game. The worst possible thing that could happen is that Sony would put out a VR Spider-Man, a VR Wolverine, a VR Ratchet and Clank, a VR Nathan Drake, something I have to go get. Then I'd really be tested.
You guys, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
But with that being said, there are some games that I'm very interested in. And if and when I do get a headset on the PS4/5 when they're super cheap, and I have a moment of weakness, I'll be playing Moss, I'll be playing Stormland, I'll be playing Lone Echo, and I'll be playing Astrobot. Because Astrobot in non-VR is amazing, and I really would love to see that in VR. So, yeah, I don't miss it. I want it on the Xbox. I don't want to go get it on the PlayStation, because I don't play my PlayStation enough as it is. So, it's just not worth it.
You guys do know that there's Windows mixed reality headsets. Have you seen those?
Yeah,
and
augmented.
Those games have achievements.
They do.
I counted.
Do they
There's
really?
16. There's 16 of them.
If I could get a headset that worked with the PlayStation and the PC, maybe, or if the PC headsets just become so cheap, then yeah, I could see myself maybe doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point in time, I just don't see it happening until.
Yeah, that's a harder buy, because you are gonna buy it for achievements, and but you could play this awesome game I'm just looking at called Headbutt Factory.
But going back to the whole
That sounds like a game.
The whole gaming as a family thing, or getting this for the family, VR is so singular. It seems it really, if you're just trying to come from that angle of, I'm getting this for the family. Well, okay, but you're getting it for the family for a single person to experience at a time, and everyone just to laugh at them from the outside. I don't see this working well for everyone. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't have it.
This is what you do. You get a headset for everybody, and then you meet in VR chat, and then you
sell
play
your
a board
car.
game.
You buy 4 indexes.
Yeah.
So.
Now, aren't there some kind of, videos or movies you could also watch on your VR that you might actually would prefer to be solo? You know,
I was waiting for you to spring that up.
like sports ball. What?
Like Max Payne. Yeah.
I knew Elle was going to bring that up.
What?
I just didn't know when.
Wait, you could see that from there? Oh. I mean, down boy. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about, like, soccer or something would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Right.
a certain hub website that
Yeah.
has a /VR.
Yeah, a hub. Sports
knew?
hub.
So that angle aside,
SportsHub.com/VR.
I think VR is actually pretty cool for maybe watching movies, not those types of movies.
What?
Because you don't know who's watching you while you're watching them.
That's creepy.
Is that you don't need a huge TV. So you put on this VR helmet and you're watching IMAX, basically, right? Because you can just look wherever you want, and that's
Exactly.
how big the monitor is. So
it
I
depends
like
on
that.
if you have to move your head a lot.
Yeah. Well, I
You
don't know.
You don't want to exercise while you're,
Definitely don't want to
relaxing.
exercise. No. I don't have the space for that. So.
or the stamina.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Oh, we
We are talking about
veered
exercising.
off.
No, not those movies. Yes.
Was that everyone? Got Lego head?
I think everyone had 2 turns on that one. I'm not sure.
Everybody wrote a book.
Yeah, everybody.
You didn't read Lego heads, right?
I did.
You did?
I did.
If we didn't, let's say we
But
did.
he's the same person as Chewie, so I got confused.
I definitely read it.
Okay.
I used my Chewy voice for it.
Oh. Oh my god.
Something like that.
It's got sick. All right. Well, thank you for the interesting topic, Ragnarok. There was a lot of discussion in Discord about it, especially the merits of playing solo versus family. So that was an interesting subtopic that came from it. So,
Yes.
I don't think it's
All
going to come on Xbox, but that's okay.
Not anytime soon, anyway.
That's okay.
All right, but let's get into the game showcase. Al, you weren't here last week, so what have you been playing?
I wasn't? I was here in
Not
spirit.
that I remember. I mean, we did
Spigot.
kick you out of the channel because we thought for sure your FOMO was going to kick in and you would join us halfway through.
Yeah. Well, I came in here expecting to talk about a AAA game, but instead I'm going to talk to you about a game that wishes it were a AAA game. And it is called Ravensword: Shadowlands. And
This doesn't look awful.
So I came in here expecting and actually looking forward to bashing the hell out of this game. Because what it basically is a piss poor version of Oblivion or Skyrim.
It definitely does look like
It
that.
looks like it was
It's
made
made by Ratalaika.
Shh. Don't spoil it.
What are you expecting?
Well,
Continue.
yes.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't look at the developer or publisher. I just assumed East Asia Shelf.
It was published.
It's not a
It
shoot 'em
was
up,
brought
so.
to the Xbox by
Fair.
Ratalaika, yes. But it is not a quickie game. There are videos out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It took me longer. But before I get there...
Really?
Before I get there... I mean, the game looks like it was made in 2005. But as it turns out, it was actually made in 2013 for iOS and Android. So it was
Let's say it looks like a phone.
it was a phone game.
Interesting.
So with that said, it doesn't look half bad. It's very janky. When you see enemies, they stand still until you get close enough to them, and then they charge you. The combat is awful. So what you want to do off the start that I wasn't privy to is don't pick an axe or a sword. You want to find a bow and arrow. And you have
Why?
infinite arrows, because when you get up close, it's just a mess. You just want to pick a ranged weapon until you can power up your stats for melee skills. So,
Oh my god.
are you watching some videos? Very interesting.
I'm watching
I think-
videos and one just ragdoll like crazy.
I think you are
and
way
spaz out.
overselling this.
Oh no, It's bad. But by the time I was done with it,
Yeah,
I'm not going to say I was into it, but I saw it through to its conclusion. To get the
I'm starting to change my mind on this.
To get the completion, you need to beat the game. I don't know. There's something fun about playing bad games sometimes. Yeah, so the enemies would fall. Like if you knocked an enemy off a cliff, you would see it just floating.
A dinosaur just popped up.
Yep, dinosaur just pops up, and you can fight a dinosaur. You kill him in a few hits. He's not any easier or harder than a goblin. There are some things that are good, like you can fast travel anywhere. Once you reach a place, you can go there quickly.
What the?
And the other thing I liked is that you didn't have to worry about your weapons breaking like I've hated in similar types of games in the past.
I'm changing my mind on this. I thought this didn't look half bad, like graphics aside. More videos I'm watching. Wow, this thing is riddled with glitches.
Yes, it's very glitchy.
Like most of these clips on TA are just awful glitches. Yeah, this is more rad like a shovelware crap.
Yes, the difficulty and glitches overshadowed the game's technical feats. That was a review. But its original Metacritic review gave it a 76 out of 100. I mean, there's some nods to Skyrim, Oblivion.
Oh, this is totally like, just think in your mind, Radalaika just did Skyrim.
Yes.
What you're thinking of is this game.
Yes, the nice thing about it is you can complete it in a few hours and see all there is to see in the game. Because to me, Oblivion and Skyrim have always been intimidating.
It depends on if you want to complete them.
This game did have a few side quests, but all you need to do is the main quest, and there's some achievements for killing certain enemies. I wanted to ask you guys if you heard of this site that I've used a few times for guides. It's called dex.exe. Have you heard of it?
Never heard of it.
Sounds like a bad site you should not go to.
Is it a hub site with the VR
What it
section?
sounds like. Well, what's it called?
I sent you guys a link.
I'm not clicking that link.
I'm not clicking
This is a
your
work
links.
PC.
I hate you guys. It's not porn. I mean, sports ball. Anyway, I'm just curious if you guys have used this site. I've used it for a few games recently. It's one I had never heard of. It's called dex.exe. Yeah, you're right. It does sound
for fun,
like
not achievements.
it does sound like a shady site, but
I have not heard of this website.
I've never heard of it. I've never used it.
I've seen some easier games pop up on there. It's mostly a PlayStation site, so you can substitute trophies for achievements.
Why is this website giving me an ad for a massager?
That's based off your cookies, bro.
That's based off your browsing history.
And it linked to a Steam guide, actually, that helps figure out how to money farm in the early stages of the game. Oh, actually, what I forgot to say is I had trouble with this game at first because I forgot to do something like, buy armor. So I was getting my ass kicked. And then I was like, okay, I have a shield. Why am I dying so much? And then I went to a different shop that had armor. I'm like, oh, much easier.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. I put on my RPG brain and figured it out. Has anyone played this game? I'd love to hear it. Looks like Elroy completed it. I'd love to talk to him about it. I'm sure he would have good stories. All right, well, that was Ravensword Shadowlands.
What a review.
I'm going to talk about a good game later. Maybe.
How about you? Nate?
Goals for next year.
Goals
right?
for next year. Yes. Actually,
What game you want to talk about?
actually,
Nate?
next year, I'm going to open my RTDL to all my games, so it's not going to be nonsense. I'm going to have lots of good stuff to talk about. I'm going to do it.
GIF. So yeah, what have I been playing? Well, a while back I talked about a game that I was going to send an email to a publisher and make it super fancy, and they didn't say anything back. So that was wasted effort. I played the Smurfs Mission Vileaf. Found out it's Vileaf, not Vile AF.
Wait, you bought this game?
Yeah, I bought this game.
You sound surprised.
It was relatively cheap.
Nathan Smith. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
And how come you didn't buy me
games?
one?
I'm buying games that interest my daughter.
Oh.
She watched both Smurf movies in the past 2 weeks. So so she was really on a Smurfs kick, and so she kind of sat down and watched me play this. So it's kind of fun. It's like VR, but for everyone. So what is this game? This is an action platformer. And look at that. TA calls it an action adventure. So that's about right. I feel. And looking from the outside, before I knew anything about this, it looked kind of like, once I saw a little bit of gameplay, it looked kind of like maybe this would be a Mario Sunshine-esque experience on the Xbox. And it is a little bit, but obviously it doesn't have the pedigree of a Nintendo. So, what is the game? You play as one of 4 Smurfs, and it makes absolutely no difference which Smurf you're playing as, and you don't really have a control over that. I think as the story goes on, you just kind of go from Hefty to Brainy to Smurfette to
What
Bigger.
about Grouchy?
I don't think he plays Grouchy. He is in the game though, as is Lazy Smurf. Mm-hmm.
Is Grouchy actually a Smurf?
No, I think it's actually.
That's
a
dwarf.
There is one Grumpy Smurf maybe.
No, that's the
Grumpy
dwarf.
Smurf.
That's also a dwarf.
Okay, so Grumpy's the dwarf. Grouchy is the Smurf.
Grouchy's also a dwarf.
No.
Talk to Sleeping Beauty, not me. I didn't name them.
Okay, I don't recall.
They're both.
I don't recall. This one's blue. That's all I know. So you play as these Smurfs.
That narrows it down.
There's no difference whatsoever on what Smurf you're playing as. Just, they look a little different. They don't have different attributes, like one jumps higher. It's not like a Luigi Mario situation. You have a backpack. This is why it seemed like Mario Sunshine. This backpack that has all these different abilities. The primary ability is that you spray plants. And you're spraying this Vileaf infestation that's taken over Smurf Village and associated or areas around the Smurf Village. There's a couple different zones. There's like a river zone. There's the Smurf Village zone. There is a castle zone. There's Gargamel's hovel, or whatever you want to call it. So there's a little bit of variety. I should say there's a good bit of variety. You don't really feel like it's the same palette being used over and over and over again. So there is something good there for the graphics. The music seemed fine. I didn't get annoyed by anything. They didn't just do like the la 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 song the entire time, which is good.
That gives it at least 1 star.
Yes. Yeah. They don't do that the whole time because that would just drive you insane. I felt a little bit like the controls weren't spot on. Like they needed some work. And as you move through the game, I apparently went way too long before I started buying upgrades, because the game gets easier as you buy upgrades, as most things work out. Yeah, imagine that. The game, when you buy the upgrades, the game gets better. So pay attention to that as you're playing this game.
It's like
I went way too long. I went at least like halfway through the game before I started buying all these upgrades. I was like, holy crap, I can jump really far now. And I was trying to do all these collectibles as you're moving through the levels. Turns out you can't get them all until you get all the moveset. That's crazy talk, right? So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. Then you don't have to find weird ways to hack the geometry of the level to get to this thing you're not supposed to be able to, because a 5-year-old's not going to be able to figure it out, but a 45-year-old will. But so yeah, go ahead and make sure you're buying those upgrades as you go. I suggest buying the movement set upgrade because it will help you get stuff better. Yeah, there's a couple of, like I said, it's a couple of different levels. The way the achievements work, you're essentially getting them for completing levels. Then there are achievements for getting all of the collectibles. There are different collectibles in each major zone. Those collectibles are also used as ingredients or components for your upgrades. Then there's just generic currency that you get by, cleaning out the Vileaf with your sprayer, and you'll get coins from doing that. Yeah, the Vileaf is. Yeah, they could have done something better with that.
They didn't
yeah.
need to, though.
So make sure you're doing that as you're doing the collectibles. Certain upgrades take certain components, so that's just kind of how the progression works. So you'll figure it out. There are other achievements for breaking boxes of sarsaparilla, and sarsaparilla is health. I also didn't catch that right away. I was just like, geez, this game, like, there's not a whole lot of health. I believe you can turn some settings down. I just played it on hard because I believe there was an achievement for hard. Yes. There are achievements for beating it in easy, beating it on normal, and beating it on hard. They don't really seem to change too much. I think maybe the amount of damage you do versus the amount of damage done to you. But I played it on hard and it was not hard. So,
all right.
Other achievements, they have funny things, or not funny things, but like situational things like 10 perfect jumps in a row. To do that achievement, it's way easier to do it just standing still. You just have to just time your jump button for when you hit the ground to do a perfect jump. You also get sprays. You get different color sprays for 100%ing various sections of the village. So you'll get like a yellow spray. I think you start off with let's say it's purple. Maybe it's blue. I don't know. But you can get like 5 different colors. The coolest one, obviously, is rainbow. And it just makes everything look like a rainbow. So that's pretty cool. You get that one for doing, I think, the final area of the village. Once I got that, that's all I used. There's an achievement for coloring flowers with the different sprays. You have to do 10 of each. So you just kind of do those as you go or wait to the very end of the game and do that as part of your cleanup. It's not too bad.
So it's like
yeah.
Smurfs painting simulator.
Not really. It's kind of like in Mario Sunshine where you have to hit like 3 things before the timer goes up, and then like a shine will pop out or something like that. Same thing happens in Smurf Village. There's like 5 different flowers or 5 different Vileaf things you have to hit, and if you hit them within a certain amount of time, they change into that color. If you don't, then they kind of like reset the timer, whatever. And finally, there is, of course, the 100% achievement for doing all the things across the entire game. And I haven't done that one yet. I don't see any issues with that. Let's see how many completions there are. There are 182 starters. There are 15 completions. I am not one of them. I still have to go back. I got caught up in Game Pass FOMO. So I have not been able to go back and finish my cleanup, but I have finished the story. I finished a bunch of the collectibles. I finished all the levels, and I'm just in cleanup mode now. It's not a bad game. It's definitely not worth $40. So if this game ever drops to 10, I would say it's a fair game. So
that's a steep discount it's going to need.
It's going to need it. It's not the best of platformers. You know, my expectations are really high when I'm comparing it to like a Mario Sunshine. It was not bad. It was not a bad platformer. I didn't really have any really bad bugs. I thought maybe the level design in one particular area was not great. It's kind of an air jump level that might have been easier if I had been upgrading my moveset as I went along. I played that level before I started doing that, so it might have been made easier at that point. But it's not a bad game. And it's, you know, as far as licensed games go, it's pretty good. Yeah, so that's the Smurfs Mission Vileaf.
It's 1 player.
All right.
Actually, it's 2 player, but who does that?
What? But
Weird people.
You and your daughter.
I don't know how 2 player works.
Oh
no, she was no, she didn't jump in. She was more than happy to help me spot things in the village. Like, oh, there's a mushroom, go get that. And then, oh, there's some bark, go get that. But yeah, so I didn't try 2 player. I did notice it was prompting me to do 2 player frequently, but I didn't. So
I'm always fascinated about that stuff, just on the off chance that the second player can earn achievements as well at the same time.
He's looking for more games for
To
him
be
and Michelle
carried,
to play.
yes, of course.
So she's hefty Smurf.
Librarian Smurf.
All right. Corey, what game you want to talk about this week?
All right, so I normally don't do 2 games, but I have 2 games this week.
You just can't resist.
I could not resist, and mostly because I was just blown away. But I'm going to start by talking about the first game. Brand new game, just came out today, actually, or maybe yesterday, or maybe even a few days if you're listening to this when the podcast comes out. And it is called Oddworld Soulstorm Enhanced Edition. This game was previously only available on PlayStation and PC. It is now out on Xbox, and it's called Enhanced Edition because it has 7 months of polish. They've, tweaked the gameplay a little bit, and they've added this thing called Viker's Labs, which basically gives you little challenge rooms where you have to get from point A to point B, basically as quickly and efficiently without dying as you can. But first, before I go any further, are any of you guys familiar with the Oddworld games?
Yes.
I'm familiar with them. Not really a fan.
So I was introduced to the Oddworld universe with Munch's Odyssey, the Xbox exclusive, which this series has had a very weird relationship with exclusivity. And so anyways, Munch's Odyssey is a 3D Oddworld game, and I absolutely loved it. They followed up with Oddworld Stranger's Wrath on the Xbox as well. That was published by EA. They didn't give them enough marketing, so it didn't do as well, but a lot of people consider that to be the best one. I think it was good, but Munch's Odyssey is my favorite. Now, a couple of years ago, they came out with Oddworld New and Tasty. This is a remake of the original Oddworld game called Abe's Odyssey. And just to throw some lore out there, because I did do some digging after I played this one, they intended for 5 Oddworld games across that whole universe.
Wow.
Abe's Odyssey was the first one, and then it did so well that they quickly followed up with Abe's Exodus the following year, back in the PlayStation era. I think it was like 97 or something like that. So that wasn't part of the 5. And then later on, they came out and they had like Game Boy versions of the same stuff. Later on, they had Munch's Odyssey, so that was the second one. And then Stranger's Wrath. I don't know if Stranger's Wrath was originally included in that, but fast forward to today where they have remade Abe's Odyssey with New and Tasty. Oddworld Soulstorm, this brand new game, is a remake or a reimagining of Abe's Exodus. So this is a direct sequel to New and Tasty. It only leaves me hope that they will remake Munch's Odyssey and then continue on from there, because it seems like they've had a little bit of problems in between, because we didn't see them really in the 360 era, I don't think, at all. They were kind of working on getting some of those old games onto PC and some other platforms, it seems like. But anyways, back to the game at hand. Oddworld Soulstorm is a 2D platforming stealth game where you are Abe, and just like pretty much every Oddworld game, you're trying to save your people, it seems like. So you are navigating through these levels in order to progress the story that allows you to save your people. Along these levels, you will come across enemies, and you can take care of these enemies in several different ways. You can actually possess them and kill other enemies, or just kind of make them explode. You can also just make them like move out of the way and then kind of leave them alone where they can't really bother you. There are different things in these levels that prevent you from doing that, so that's not always a solution. You can just kind of brute force your way sometimes and kind of run through, or you can be very sneaky and use things like smoke bombs and environmental blockers so you can get by undetected. All of these kind of sneaky parts are sectioned off into the level, so usually right before that you have a checkpoint, so if you die you can quickly reload it, which is a very good thing, because as I have come to kind of think, these levels are pretty long in my opinion. I averaged 45 minutes. That was probably right in the middle. Some of them took me in over an hour. Some of them I was in the 30-minute range. It doesn't seem like a long time, but it's a lot of trial and error with these games. Once you get good at these games, they probably go a lot quicker, but on a blind playthrough, it took quite a while to get through the 15 levels that they gave me. I only say 15 because as you go through these levels, you have to make a choice whether you're going to save the people that you're trying to, save in the story. They are sprinkled throughout the levels. You have to save them, or you can just choose that they die, or leave them and beat the level. Depending on how many you save, you get good or bad karma for the level. Well, if you know Oddworld games, they are known for good and bad endings. And in this game, if you get the bad ending, you stop at level 15. That's the final level. The good ending actually gives you 2 additional levels. And there's an achievement for beating the game. I'm just making sure that is the case, because I'm pretty sure I didn't get that achievement because I got the bad level. I don't know. The list tells you to pretty much do the game very, very good. They want you to do it without dying. It wants you to get the good ending and do all that. And for me, that part is really tough because as you are trying to get through sneakily to get past the section, you have to do it very, very well in order to get most, if not all, of your followers to safety as well. And so there's going to be a lot of replaying for me if I want to get to that good ending. And I kind of do, because what Oddworld does best is cutscenes. You could stitch together all the cutscenes and make it a movie. They are that good. And I even went back and watched some old cutscenes of the other games, just to kind of see them for the first time or kind of jog my memory, because I do really like this universe. But yeah, that's Oddworld Soulstorm. One thing to know is if you played New and Tasty, they have definitely improved on the platforming. One, they give you a double jump in this, and it just feels better. It's not as free roam as, say, Mario or Super Meat Boy. Abe has his little quirks and tendencies, like where he needs to finish his step that he's on, and it kind of makes it seem jerky, even though it's not. So yeah, there's that. They've also added crafting to this game, so as you're going through the level, you'll pick through lockers and trash cans and pick up ingredients where you can craft throwables. Those will help you get through these stealthy sections or sections with enemies. And yeah, that's the game. It's not my favorite as far as because stealth isn't really my thing, but I do think that it's a good game. It's definitely the best 2D Oddworld game I've played, because I actually went and played New and Tasty after this just to kind of jog my memory on that one, and I couldn't get past the one section I stopped on last time because the controls were just terrible. But this one I did play through all the way through to the bad ending. I have to play a majority of the game to get the good ending. So it's good, though, if you like Oddworld.
So I got 2 questions.
Yep.
First off, I see that TA lists the genre as a puzzle platformer. You agree with that? Because of a couple of clips that I've seen, what you describe, it doesn't really seem to fit that. I mean, the platformer, definitely. Not really puzzle.
Yeah, it's puzzly. You have to figure out when and how to do things, and you're given multiple options. Like you could possess the enemies if the game allows you. You could also brute force your way and run through and kill have all your followers dead, but you make it through. But if you want to get through sneakily, you have to hide at the right moments, and sometimes you have to use your powers to maybe ring a bell that opens a door. So I can see where puzzle would fit.
Okay. And then the other question, it's a $40 game. Yay or nay? Too much? Wait for a sale?
For me, I would probably, I don't know if I'd feel bad for, paying that much, because TA says I've played for 23 hours already.
Wow.
That probably includes some idling, but that was me playing through blind, enjoying myself. But in order to get all the achievements, I'm going to have to put in a lot more time. So you're definitely going to get time in that way if you're going for the completion, but it will be a tough completion, I think. I would be a little hesitant because if you recall, this game launched on PlayStation right into PS Plus. Not saying that it's coming to Game Pass or games with gold, but the precedence is there because
That's
it was, free over there. So if you're not in a hurry, yeah, definitely wait for a sale. I think you'll find it, pretty soon. But if you are a super fan of Oddworld, it's definitely worth a buy.
All right, cool. What's the other game you got?
All right, so this one I could not let go. I had to put it in this week because it's all I did Sunday, basically, when I had a free moment. And normally I would just say, that's fine. I don't need to talk about it, but I have to tell Nate about this game. It's called The Forgotten City. And I know we've heard it before, maybe in passing. People said it's a good game. And yeah, it's a good game. It's in Game Pass too. So you could play it it looks like it's on PC and Xbox. I'm playing on console. It says it's an 8 to 10 hour game. I already have 10 hours in. I'm not finished with it yet. I am playing completely blind. It is a game that will benefit if you just sink yourself into it and don't follow guides, because it is a game about talking to people, doing quests, and understanding timelines. It's a looping game, which we don't get a lot of that I see. If there's more like this, I want to know about it. So if you're kind of itching to play Deathloop, look into The Forgotten City as a possible option. And I mentioned Nate because it has so much to do with the mythos of, thousands of years ago. They're always referencing the gods. They play a major role in this. So I think that's right up his alley. I kind of started it because I was just looking for something different. It was there in Game Pass, and I've heard, good things. And I did not think that it was going to suck me in as much as it did. You start out and you just talking to people, getting to know the land, and if something goes, the whole part of the game, and this isn't really giving away anything, is that you're in this city. I'm not gonna tell you how you get there or the lead up to that, but you're in this city and they have to follow by the golden rule. So if somebody sins in the game, then something bad happens, and basically they say that the many will suffer for the sins of one. And you, in order to advance, you have to run and not die, and basically reset the timeline, reset the day or whatever.
Interesting.
And you keep your items on there, and obviously you keep your own knowledge in your head, and like your tasks will kind of update. But every time you talk to people in the new loop, it's like you're talking to them for the first time. And so it's really intriguing, that part about it. There are multiple endings. So I have 2 of the 4 endings. It looks like I will have to play. I could get to the ending pretty quickly now, so I don't have really an hour to kind of give you, but I don't think it's going to be too long. But I'm actually not. I'm not dreading playing this game, just to see the other endings, because it's just that intriguing. What I would suggest is maybe play it the way I did. Just play it blind as much as you can. But there are saves, so you could kind of craftily save, do a hard save every now and then, and kind of keep a note of what you did, and go back. I didn't do that really. But I was able to take my first ending save, and kind of move around something in order to get another ending. So I didn't have to do everything all over. I think I'm at the point where I need to start over to get the remaining stuff. And there are some missables that I know about now. So now I'll go back and make sure I do those. But it's just a really good game that kind of, for me, it came out of nowhere. And for you, Kenny, you might like to know, it was apparently built on a Skyrim mod.
I was just about to ask that, because this looks like Skyrim. Like the clips I'm watching, they're all moving and talking identical to the animations of Skyrim.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it's on, at least on Xbox, it's buggy. So I guess that falls in line with Skyrim. As much as I know about, those Bethesda RPGs, they are buggy. There's a lot of flashing lights, and one time I had to wait. You have to wait for people to do some of their tasks before they talk to you, and these two people got caught in a conversation, and they kept on repeating themselves over and over, and when they're done with their conversation, they're supposed to part ways. They would get 3 feet extra and repeat the conversation and go and go and go. I eventually, I think I just killed that day and, started it over. But yeah, it was buggy, but it's a pretty cool game.
So is the goal to have one perfect run, like one perfect day, or are you making progress, completing objectives, and then resetting the day, and then that thing you did kind of stays?
I think there is a way to beat it in one loop. There's an achievement for reaching the best ending in the smallest number of loops. So it's kind of vague in how many that is. Obviously, that makes it sound like you do more than one.
Yeah.
I think I beat my first go naturally in 4 loops.
Did you play 12 minutes yet?
No, not yet.
Because I think you would really like that based off of what you like about this one. So, we'll do a swap.
There we go. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't got a chance to come back to this game. But I pretty much played it. It says 10 hours, and that almost entirely came from at least 8 or 9 of those hours came from one day.
It could also be
on and off playing.
It could also be the people that are talking about that are people that played the mod. They already know what to do, so their play is faster.
Yeah, and there are guides out there. There's a Steam guide for your most efficient way, and people tell you when to save in order to get all the endings and stuff like that. So yeah. I think you are robbing yourself if you do that, because the game is pretty cool otherwise.
So is this what
if Corey is telling you to play the game and not look at a guide? That says a lot.
Yeah, this is really interesting to me. I knew that it was based off of a Skyrim mod, and then I was just like, oh, well, I'll get to it eventually. But you've kind of piqued my interest, and I'm going to look at this.
Yeah, you definitely should. That's the first thing I did when something struck me, and I'm like, oh, Koosh would like this. As soon as they started talking about different gods and stuff, I was like, okay, here we go, Phoenix Rising all over again. I looked to see if you'd played this, and you hadn't. And I think you would. I think you'd dig it. And Kenny, I think you'd probably dig it too, just for the looping mechanics.
The looping mechanics, I'm not as big a fan of it as Nate is, but I love anything with the gods and stuff like that. I love Greek mythology, so everything that you said interests me. This is definitely something I'm going to download.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's it's on Game Pass, and I hadn't really heard much talk about it other than it's good, and that may have just been vulgar saying that.
How long is the game?
Just to complete it, or just to get through a run?
Both.
Well, TA, if you're trying to be efficient, it says 8 to 10 hours, and that's probably true if you're following guides. If you're just gonna play the game, I think I came to the first ending in 6 to 7 hours.
Ooh, okay, that's much longer than I was expecting.
But I was also trying to I probably could have ended it a little early, but I was trying to make sure I talked to everybody and do everything.
Well, I was just wondering if this was kind of like a rogue, like a Hades or something like that, where it's just all right, I got an hour, I'll do a run, kind of a mentality.
But
it doesn't sound like it.
You could do that, but I would not put a lot of time between your playthroughs. If you're playing it every day and you only get an hour, that's fine. That's how you have to play games. But I would not play it and then put it down and come back even a week later. For me, I was sucked in. I couldn't stop playing it. I had to know what the next story beat was.
Okay.
Yeah, so I couldn't let it go without talking about that one. It was just too good.
So is this what a good-looking Western RPG is supposed to look like?
No, I'm not saying it looks good or it plays super well, but it's fun.
It doesn't look awful,
Looks like
but it doesn't look
looks
great.
like a lot of dialogue.
I mean, it looks
Very dialogue.
there is a lot of dialogue, and it's all voice acted.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. It's made by a small team. They're up for like some Game Awards stuff. Like they have it on their main menu, so you'll probably hear about it there, which just tells you that it's probably a decent game. But yeah, and you can skip the dialogue too. But I read it faster than they could say it to me, so that's when I skipped it. Or if I've already heard it before.
All
Just
right.
to throw that out there.
Sounds cool. Sounds like a game's worth checking out. All right. Let's get into some sales.
Wait.
Wait. What are we? What
You
am
know I have to cut you off before you go into sales.
Well, yes, I do.
I just wanted to
I was expecting.
wanted to quickly talk about the Forza Horizon 4 Eliminator boosting we've been doing as a community. It has been pretty amazing. I've done it 2 or 3 times now, and there's been like 10, 12 people in the party at once. It's been crazy. So we were pretty easily able to find each other in these games just from counting down. And the main achievement we were going for was to get first place in Eliminator without picking up a car drop.
Mm-hmm.
And according to my friends list, we got it for a lot of people. Heizo, Hawkeyeberry, Matism, KooshMoose, Fug, Retro Chief, Mental, Saucy, and myself, and Michelle, and Death Dealers. And there were a couple people, Nightwolf and Vulgar, who had already had it, and they helped out as well, so thank you to them. So basically, we did all crazy stuff. We had like a buddy system where we traveled with someone else, so just in case a random came, we would challenge our buddy. So that way they can get a win. And just tried to be there at the end and sabotage other cars when they're trying to race to the finish. And I don't know, it worked out really well. Especially.
So was this Forza 4 or 5?
4.
Okay.
The thinking was that now that 5 is out, 4 will be less populated.
That's why I was asking that.
Which, of course, remember how I said 4 and 5 are the same game? I was wrong because the online actually works in 4. So.
Damn.
Yeah, so. I still see a lot of people complaining about 5, how you can't really. There's not a lot of people showing up in your instance and can't get stuff done. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly shout that out. Of course, there was one story. It's always a story when we were going for Michelle's win. I was in the finals as well, and I was behind, and I was in second place, and I decided to drive into the water, and then I drowned, and then when I respawned, it said, "You win." So I messed up Michelle's win. And you could just hear the whole party go silent. And they were like, "She's going to kill you." But, yeah.
Bruce Team fell.
It wasn't just that you messed up her win, though. It was that you messed up her win after you got your win.
Yes, I had already had my win, yes.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I think that was the key.
I need to show you guys this video to prove that I didn't do it on purpose or that it wasn't my fault.
Oh, it doesn't matter if you show us a video. We're not going to believe you.
Yes, I probably should have just sat still, but
some more boosting lore real quick. When Fug was going for his win,
yes, that's a good
his
story.
controller batteries died.
Yes.
Like inches, like seconds before he crossed the line, his controller batteries died and he lost. And
That's hilarious.
I was not there for that one.
Choice words.
Does the car not keep going?
No, because when your controller disconnects, the game stops. Like it pauses. Like I guess.
Even in the online portion?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there for it, but he didn't get the win.
That's hilarious.
And lots of people knew about it, so everyone in the boost. Apparently, Fug was not happy with himself, and he had some mean words for himself. So good times.
Oh.
Get in the boost.
Yeah, I wasn't in that one, but Fug messaged me telling me what happened. He said he was so pissed at himself and that he was grumpy and took it out on some other people in the party. I wish I was there for that. And of course, the next session that Saucy mentioned it about 52 times to get under his skin.
Oh, saucy.
Boosting's fun. Unless it's Cuisine Royale. Don't do that. That sucked.
All right. Now let's get into some saves.
The other thing I want to say is we did our first session during Corey watching The Princess Bride, so we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. So I actually had the movie up on my phone while and watching Corey, the movie, and the boost at the same time. So
It's okay. My dad was there.
Yeah, you're not the only one that needs multiple screens going at a time, Corey. I think we all do that these days.
We all have problems.
We all have issues. Come on, we're waiting for you to talk about sales already, Kenny.
Bruh.
Oh God, not you with that. My son does that shit. Please stop it.
He's trying to be young.
Bruh. What's wrong with bruh? Come on, bruh.
Oh.
Get with the program, bruh.
I quit.
Is that all it took?
We're about to switch you out for Brooke.
Oh.
You can't. She's sleeping. All right. Corey, what game do you want to talk about? Or you want to recommend? That one.
I'm going to recommend a game that apparently has not been on sale for a year, and people are afraid it's going to leave, be delisted soon for some reason that I don't understand. But The Mummy Demastered is a really, really good Metroidvania. It's half off. It's $10. It's been out for 4+ years, and people are thinking now's the time to buy it because it's going to go away next year. Again, I don't know why, but hey, it's a good game.
Seems kind of like a random delist if that would happen.
I mean, it's a license thing, so it wouldn't shock me, but I mean, I don't see what other indications are there.
All right, well,
Mystic Bell is
PSA
another
if nothing else.
That's
do what?
Mystic Bell. Mystic with a K for some reason. That's cool. That's a way forward Vayner, $7.49 down from $15. Word on the street is that it's not bad, not good. It's just kind of there. So I can't wait to get it.
Yeah.
Man,
It's not great.
I don't remember calling on L, but all right, good to know.
Glad you asked. When's it going to be Nate's turn?
All right, I guess that's all the things that L has, at least for now. Nate, what tabs do you have
What
open?
about me?
Thanks for actually asking. I'm going to talk about two games that I have actually sort of played. Astro Aqua Kitty, $9 down from $15.
What a name.
Shmup. What a name, you say. What a name, you say. Let me just tell you, this is a sequel to the much more interestingly named Aqua Kitty UDX Xbox One Ultra Edition. Now that is a name.
That is definitely a name.
And that is a fun game. That is a fun shmup where the screen wraps around. Old style shmup where you can go to the left of your screen and all of a sudden you're on the right side of your screen, a la Pac-Man and other old games that olds might remember. Well, Astro Aqua Kitty, I'm sure does the exact same thing. I'm going to buy this sight unseen based off of the first game. And if you like shmups, maybe you should too. And the last game I'm going to recommend is Down in Bermuda. This is $2 down from $20. It is a puzzle game, and it's the same developer as Agent A Puzzle in Disguise. And that developer is Yak & Co. Yak & Company. I really liked Puzzle in Disguise. I played a little bit of Down in Bermuda today, just so I could confirm, because I know I've recommended this a couple times before. It plays a lot like a mystery box. So if you know what a mystery box is, it's a complicated box that you're given, and on the surface of the puzzle, or on the surface of that box, are multiple puzzles that are related. So you have to turn this dial which moves this lever, which when you turn the face of the box now makes other things accessible, and you can change those. And that's how the first level has played so far. You're basically just doing all these little puzzles, moving things around to meet the goal of opening this thing or having this action happen. You get a star. You get enough stars, I think you move on. So from what I've seen, looks great. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say, it's $2 down from $20. That is a fantastic price. Check it out and get in on that sale if you think it looks good.
$2.
Right, cool. Very cheap.
Down from 20. So,
but if you don't want to buy anything, you can get some stuff of Games of Gold. By the time you're hearing this, The Escapist 2 will be available for download, along with Orcs Must Die. Both of them free to download if you have gold. And then in Game Pass news, on December 14th, launching into Game Pass is Aliens Fireteam Elite. I know nothing about the Aliens games or franchise, but
Nuke it from orbit.
Aliens Fireteam is another AF. I got nothing. What is it, like a multiplayer game?
Yes.
What he
Sweet.
said.
Hence the fire team.
Sweet. And the Elite is makes it sound cool.
it's like,
it also has seasons and things like that. So it's got a year's worth of content on this roadmap. So it's probably gonna be one that it's gonna be a long haul type game.
It says cooperative third-person survival shooter.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to drop this today and not tomorrow when we're going to get the rest of the Game Pass news. So just pretend that we're really excited for the new Game Pass games that we don't know about yet.
Are you saying we're going to get podcasted again?
100%.
Since today is November 30th, absolutely.
Let's see. It's almost 12 o'clock, so within like 10 hours, the Game Pass news will come out. So which means we have to record until then. This is going to be a very long show.
Well, I mean, we're on target, yeah.
All right, well, in that case, let's get to coming real soon. Nate, you got the first game.
Okay, really fast. I want to talk about what is coming out on Tuesday, December 7th, and that is White Shadows. Holy crap. Nobody picked this. I got the pick of the litter. This is the best game. It's so much better. I'm not even going to mention. Witchwood. I'm not even going to mention some other games like Sam & Max Beyond Time and Space Remastered or Monopoly Madness, because this game is the best. This game is White Shadows. And it is by Thunderful. And if you recall, and you were in the Discord, and you don't have me blocked, I was talking about how awesome the Thunderful showcase was. And they had a bunch of cool games that they were showing off. And one of them was White Shadows. White Shadows is a cinematic puzzle platformer where you play as a little raven girl trying to escape a brutal dystopia founded on oppression and violence that pulls her to the bottom of its hierarchical social ladder. So what kind of uplifting gameplay must this be? Well, it's an atmospheric platformer. It looks a lot like a Limbo-like. I happen to love those types of games. So check this out. Also, plugging that Thunderful thing. Go back, search for Thunderful, watch that Thunderful showcase. They've got some cool stuff coming up. And this game looks amazing.
All right. Let's see. Going in order. Elle, you have the next one. Tell us about Monopoly Madness.
I wish I could, Kenny. I wish I could. Well, on Wednesday, December 8th, don't play Halo Infinite Campaign when you could play Monopoly Madness. I've always been fond of Monopoly, which is
same.
Which is one of the few times where I prefer playing the video game than the real one, because the real game never ends and you just wind up putting it away. But when I have fond memories of playing the NES version of Monopoly with my sister, and we would play with the AI and trick them, and good times. But I watched the trailer for Monopoly Madness, and I learned basically nothing, which makes me really excited. When you get no gameplay in the trailer, I always think it's going to be a hot mess. It looked very kiddie, but I assume it's a.
It looks crazy.
Yeah.
And being Monopoly, I'm into it.
I hope it makes its way to Game Pass, but Monopoly games usually find themselves in the bargain bin.
It's an Ubisoft game,
it'll be
so
$4.
it won't be on Game Pass. It will be on sale
Multiple
the
times.
day it comes
The
out.
day it comes out.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little bit about it. There's 20 characters you can pick from. There's 4 environments with levels and layouts you can pick from. It actually goes up to 6 players online and local co-op. You get powers from community chests, and like in the video, they show everybody running to like different properties. So it almost seemed like somewhat battle royale-ish, first one to get there wins type deal. I don't know. It actually looked kind of fun.
It looks fun. Don't really know too much about it, but it does look fun.
I'm in for 10. And I will play online with anybody.
You're telling me this doesn't look like a Power Rangers dude? That's a Power Rangers.
I don't see it.
I sent you a picture.
No. That's a jackhammer.
I sent you a picture. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a jackhammer.
What?
Definitely a jackhammer.
Oh, all right. You're right. That is a jackhammer.
Yeah, you jackwagon.
Jackwad.
All right, so the next game coming real soon, Friday, December 10th, is a game called Mr. Prepper. If you watch a video on this, it just screams Fallout Shelter. It is very much the meme of, hey, bro, can I copy your homework? Sure, just change a little so you don't know you're copied. It looks identical to it. There's even an explosion, a nuke goes off, and if I assume, by the way, that the video's going, if you prepared enough, you'll be safe. If you enjoyed Fallout Shelter, this looks like something that will be up your alley. I know I loved Fallout Shelter. So this, up my alley. It looks cool. It looks like something I would enjoy.
To be fair, it has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam.
Yes. When I say it's copied Fallout Shelter, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Like, it actually does look like they tried to put some effort into it. Honestly, it looks better than Fallout Shelter. But that's also a matter of opinion. And then for the last game coming real soon, Corey, what game are you talking about?
I'm talking about Trash Quest. It's a Metroidvania game where you play as a raccoon, so how could I not talk about it?
Clearly, this is a Corey game.
It is very not colorful, as in there's probably 3 colors in the whole game. Very purpley. And it is a compact Metroidvania, and it has 0 checkpoints. So you are navigating and platforming and running and gunning, and if you die, you spawn back. I guess it's in the middle. I'm not exactly sure. It's in a trash can is where you spawn, of course. And you go back and try to do it around. The thing is, the progress in this game, it's saved automatically, and it's tightly packed as far as like the map goes. And each time you die, you're sent back with your power-ups and your abilities and the shortcuts that you've unlocked before you died. So it's almost like roguish, but they call it a Metroidvania.
All right.
It looks hard.
It looks like it
That's
will
what
be
she said.
fun. I like it. It doesn't look like, a rattle-like. It looks better than Ravensword.
Wow.
That's not saying a whole lot.
Just saying.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some contests. Corey, go ahead and shout out the losers for this week.
All right. G-Task losers for this period, which is period 2, I think. Freemhole has been eliminated from the individual side, along with Mick Thumbs, Shadowless Edge, Dunkos, Magical Mars, and Akaraba 2. On the team side, we had 2 eliminations, Fuoth and Mr. True Achievement himself.
You can just tell that there's no badge this year because everyone is already losing. We never have this many losers this quickly. Maybe a team here and there, but not this many individuals.
I mean, what's the point? Like, you have a very small chance of winning.
That's what I mean. You can very much tell it. And Al, what are the bonuses for this week?
In bonuses, the solo one is called Don't Stop the Pop. Worth 500 TA, and the period having unlocked at least 100 achievements. I believe if you have games like Ord or Turn On not played, those are good candidates. Or I guess if you have multiple easy games laying around.
Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, that's exactly the easy game I had in mind. And team bonus is the Power of 3. End the period with each member having unlocked an achievement with either the word 3 or the number 3 in it. That one to me sounds pretty easy. And my team...
Yeah, that can't be that difficult.
My team actually has one in mind, which is a achievement all three of us can earn at the same time.
Even better.
I'll say what it is. Why not? It's in Gears 5. I think it's just for playing a chapter together in co-op. And none of us have done that.
Huh.
So yeah, that should be...
I was just about to say, you haven't played Gears 5.
I haven't yet. So many things to play. So many things to play.
Well, maybe you need a contest to tell you what to play.
Never.
At least for the next 12 days.
On the 12th day of Christmas. Oh, I can't sing the whole song yet. This thing's just getting started.
Technically, it hasn't started yet.
Yeah, it has. Not as of recording, but when you hear this, it'll be underway. 12 days of 12 days of achievements. 12 days of Christmas, of course, is
close enough.
Every day, starting on December 1st, you will get a new challenge. So, for example, on day one, you will get, you have to unlock one achievement of a specific type. I don't know, for example, earning one achievement from a game optimized for the Series X or S. And that is December 1st.
Specific.
December 2nd achievements. Second day, you earn 2 achievements. It's called 2 Grinding Gears. And that's for 2 achievements flagged as stackable. And if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, you will get some bonus information about tomorrow's, which is called 3 Nice Pops. And that's 3 achievements over a 3.0 ratio, which I imagine will be the first one people complain about.
100%.
When in reality, there's so many easy Game Pass stuff that's inflated, and Forza, you can get a 3 ratio achievement in your sleep.
Once again, Master Chief Collection, I'm sure has a ton of those.
Hop into Forge or whatever and get something, yeah.
That's not that
I'll
bad.
be singing the whole song next week. I'm sure you all can't wait.
Did you say hop into Forge that doesn't come out for like another 9 months?
That's Halo Infinite.
That's Halo Infinite.
Oh.
Yes, you could hop.
I have Halo Infinite on the brain.
Weird.
Yeah, since when are you all into Halo? Because they got dailies. I need to play that game.
No, I haven't played it yet, but I had to add it to my RTDL, speaking of contest, in order to get a draw.
All right. And what about the Gamertag Challenge?
Yeah, Gamertag Challenge is still going on for the next 9 minutes. As of recording for the next 9 minutes, our Gamertag Challenge is Mental Knight 5 with his Wildguard game. Any new achievement or previous completion by developer Fulbright. That would have been Gone Home Console Edition or Tacoma. And the bonus was Baby Gamer achievements in games geared towards elementary school age. It's worth 1 bonus draw per achievement, limit 1 per game. Go check out the Gamertag Challenge channel if you have any questions about that. You're going to want to get those entries in as soon as possible, but no later than the 6th, because on the 7th, we'll be recording live and we'll announce the winners, and I need time to do math. Speaking of math, next month is December, and our gamer tag is Mathism, kind of like math. His wild card game. His wild card game. Because this man loves his Game Pass. Any new achievement or previous completion in Evil Genius 2, which is new to Game Pass. And the bonus is Gone Pass, Baby Gone Pass. Achievement in Game Pass games leaving in December. So we don't know what those are yet.
Oh, man.
But there will be 2 sets. There will be 2 sets leaving in December. And you can get
cool
one. You can get 1 bonus draw per achievement, no limits per game. So if you're doing the game from scratch, you got buku bonus points. So go crazy.
I see what you did there now. I noticed in the Discord channel today, you put something like "'Tis the Season" with 2 T's.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was trying to
don't give hints.
I was trying to figure out who it was, but I couldn't figure it out.
We do not
give
give
no
hints.
hints. You're right. Shoot.
We never give hints.
If you looked, he put a list of all previous gamer tags, and we could clearly see the next one was 100% not Mathism.
100% not Mathism. Until it was.
All right, well, I think I'm going to win this month.
You will never win. You get nothing.
Come on.
You lose.
Now, have you seen that movie, Corey?
I've seen the inferior Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Yes. I'm just kidding. Gene Wilder is much better.
All right. Brag camp time. Take it away, Corey.
All right. 4 completions. We have a lot of completion milestones this week. Faustian Greed has passed 100 completed games. The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, has passed 200 completed games. Mad Lefty, 2097, 250 completed games. Cabo, 73, 350 games. Cerebral Assassin, 420 games. Retro Chief has passed 500 completed games. Blue Thunder, 7398, 650 games. And Lucas, 1987, 2,400 completed games.
Wow.
In ratio, nothing. Go play hard games. In streaks, Dinoman87 is new to the Discord, new to the podcast, hopefully, but not new to streaks. He is currently, or she, is currently on a 1-year achievement win streak. XNeo21X is currently on a 125-day, joined by Wild West 08 and Redemption Denied. Northern Lass, currently at 450 days. eSoccer with 500 days. Unky Tim Fu with 1,850 days. And Plantain42 with 3,050 days of achievements in a streak. Go, Kenny. It's on.
I hope Dino Man is a he. But you never know these days.
Along with that ridiculous amount of completed games, Lucas 1987 has also reached 2.25 million gamer score. And that's the only gamer score milestone we're going to talk about this week.
In leaderboards, you did be proud last week, Corey, by the way. Have some new names on here. We have EMZ Fergie. M's Fergie. She hangs out in the Beers and Boosting channel sometimes. And she eats lizards and other random pets. She's now in the top 50,000 of the TA leaderboard. Fluttery Chicken's now in the top 10,000 of the Europe TA difference leaderboard for stealth. Well, you weren't that stealthy because I found your accomplishment. Hatton 90 is now in the top 10,000 of the gamer score leaderboard. Oh boy, someone's messing with my commas. Dave Bottom is now in the top 500 of the TA leaderboard. And
Dave's Bottom?
Yes, you know I love doing that. That's his name. And Arutarek
is now in the top 100 of the Europe completed games leaderboard for role-playing games. In Bragg's Black Friday Chip, otherwise known as Scalper Chip, has completed Crash Bandicoot #1 from the Insane Trilogy, which by all accounts is ridiculous, the time trials.
That is a very good achievement.
I'm just ready for him to complete this game so we can brag about the most brags about one game.
Insane.
I heard 1 was the hardest.
I mean, I know they're hard. But
They're all hard.
Still.
And Eliphalet got his first ever FUF. For anyone who's new and doesn't know what that is 100,000 gamer score in a single year, which used to be quite the feat. But it's pretty good considering Eliphalet's not someone I think plays a lot of baby games, so that's pretty good. Not to be outdone, Alex R. Davies also hit his FUF. The only difference is his ratio was like 2.3 or something. So, yeah. He plays a lot of hard Vaners.
Nice.
So, congratulations to all you braggarts. I want to see some more brags in the brag camp room.
Tag
me. I love to be tagged, unlike everyone else who doesn't like to be tagged. Tag me all day long.
You heard it there.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night and reply, probably.
I want everybody that's listening to this to tag L at least 10 times a day from here on out.
Son of...
No, just DM him. I don't want to see that in my Discord.
All right, so outro time. We have a couple of upcoming events. Next Tuesday, December the 7th, we will be recording the podcast live, level 176, and we'll be doing some sort of a game beforehand. We're thinking maybe the Halo multiplayer or Among Us. Who knows? We still have yet to decide. If you have a suggestion, please let us know. Something that would be good to stream. And then next Thursday is the Game Awards. You can follow us on the twitch.tv/AH101. Corey and I will be streaming that, so we can see all the awards that Forza isn't going to get. And then Corey, you got some Game of the Year stuff?
Yeah, so like every podcast, we're going to be talking about Game of the Year in some form or shape capacity. So I want your ideas on some things that you think we should talk about. And I also want to remind you to go ahead and start thinking about your Game of the Years, because I'm sure we will ask you about that in the coming weeks. I actually did a little analysis on my games. I've apparently played 176 games that have come out this year.
Wow.
Go to TA, go to your game collection.
What?
Sort by release date. And yeah, I have 176 of them. Yeah, sure. A lot of them came from, well, I'm like kind of looking. A lot of them are, actually, I just play a lot of crap. So that's all it is. It's
100%. That's it.
And it's not even a lot of like, Ratalikas and stuff. I stopped playing those unless they were for contests. So some of those did make the list, but most of them are just random games. I have sorted them. Like I rated them as a first pass, and I'm going to go through the top, several and see what I get from there. But I think I already know my Game of the Year. I have 4 games that I have rated a 5. I have 10 games that I rated a 4, including Forgotten City that I talked about earlier. One of those games is on there twice, Koosh. Just saying.
Well, I know what that is.
And so anyways, I'm pretty excited to talk about Game of the Year, because I think we do it good. Not just Halo or Forza is gonna win. Because we actually play games with substance.
Yeah,
we're not just talking about the heavy hitters.
Yeah, so check your list out and see what you got, and I'm excited to talk about some Game of the Year stuff here soon.
Yep, send your suggestions in. All right. And then if you want to get into contact with us, 2 ways to do it. Either join the Discord, which is absolutely the recommended way, discord.io/AH101, or you can send us some Twitter tweets on our Twitter at Achievements101. Also, follow us on YouTube, Achievement Hunting 101. We have all the podcasts are there. Our streams are there. Whole bunch of videos, archives, like game clubs that we've done. Lots of good content. And then last but not least, if you are able to, we would appreciate your monies with our Patreon, patreon.com/achievementhunting101. We greatly appreciate our patrons. Their feedback is what helps shape the show, so also helps keep all these contests and stuff going. But with that, class is dismissed. See y'all next week.
Oh, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Prepare to die.
Hello, I'm Wakapeil, and I haven't played a soccer game in years, but the train wreck that is Konami's eFootball 2022 has 2 things going for it. Easy achievements, technically completable in half an hour, and it is free. Those are the nicest things I have to say about eFootball 2022. One day after release, it was the worst rated game on Steam ever, and users managed to brand it as psychological horror. A tag now removed, but considering the Lovecraftian screenshots and clips users posted from the game, it might not have been intentional, but it wasn't wrong. Nightmarish graphics aside, the gameplay is even more disappointing. You only get to choose between a handful of teams in the free edition, but all of the players in the world's top tier teams appear to play under the influence. It doesn't feel like you're controlling the game, more like suggesting what to do to a bunch of hyperactive kids chasing the ball. This is especially true if you are just going through the achievements while using a second controller, as the team you are not controlling at the moment will be struggling to stay still, making it rather difficult to line up shots. Should you manage everything flawlessly, you will be done in 2 matches, which would take you roughly 15 minutes, with 17 achievements worth 1000 gamer score and almost 1700 TA. It took me 90 minutes, as I struggled greatly using 2 controllers to get the achievements as fast as I could. Elroy OMJ also had the pleasure of completing the eFootball 2022, and when asked for a quote, he replied, "The rare instance where you paid too much for a free game. Go play something else." Coming from Elroy, that means something. Have a nice day, everyone.